2015 decided to migrate fully to Australia. I could bring in some values with business flavor to some of the decisions that organization was planning to get into. So I currently lead the telecom practice for Capgemini in Australia, New Zealand region. Incidentally, my previous company was acquired by Capgemini, and my initial team members or senior supervisors asked me to join back. Not many people from our organization were even keen to consider Australia as a potential business growth area.
Hello guys, and welcome to this new episode of Rising Through the Ranks podcast. In this episode, we have Mr. Alok Srivastava, who's been leading telecommunications practice at Capgemini Engineering in Australia. In this episode, we talk to him about the IIT ISB tag and how important it is in the overseas market. We also talked about how he navigated through his career through the various job switches. Finally, he also talked to us about how the market is for the Indians at Australia and also other nearby countries. So stay tuned for this episode and do let us know what your opinions are in the comment section below.
So, hello sir, Alok, welcome to the Rising to the Ranks podcast. शुरू हम लोग आपकी जर्नी से करेंगे कि ब्रीफली आपकी जर्नी क्या रही है करियर में, आप अगर वो बता सकें, and then we will go deep.
Absolutely. My career journey, in fact, should just start from, because you said that what people are planning to do immediately after then maybe their graduation. So probably I'll start right from there. Immediately after my graduation, which was almost 23 years ago, in 2000, I joined Cognizant Technologies, and that was from a campus interview. So although I did my major in electrical engineering, because most of the students, or everybody I should say at that point in time, felt that IT industry is the way to go, right? So because the whole world was going towards IT industry, not many people were so keen to go into the core engineering services, which is a traditional electrical, mechanical, or civil engineering. So everybody, like most of us, most of my batchmates, I should say, I also joined an IT services organization. I started way back in 2000 from Cognizant in Pune. So I started my career as a software engineer. Very soon I got an opportunity to go to US to work for one of our customers. That's when I felt that the technology business has a lot of implications on what we do around us. So I'll just give an example. I was working for, although I was working from Cognizant, but my end customer was a health insurance organization, right? So when we develop software for any customers of yours, you try to understand the business needs, what they are really doing, right? What exactly you are developing source code for. So that kind of triggered me to think more in the business lines. So I worked for almost 5 years with Cognizant, and then I decided that probably I should change my career from software engineering to a bit of the business side of things. So I did my MBA. I came back from US. I took a 1-year break. So I chose ISB to do my MBA, and then 2006, I started moving into, again, back into the IT industry, but in a very different kind of a role. So I started in the business development functions, which is more around bit of sales consulting, I should say. So when you so there are in IT industry, I'll probably talk a little bit more as we progress. So that's when I started in the sales functions for a company called Intra-IT in Noida. Again, after 2 years or 2.5 years, I felt that the mobile industry was growing very aggressively in India, because if you look 2005 or 2006 and before that, the only mobile what we used was SMS and phone calls, right? People didn't have internet on their mobile phones, and 2G based internet services had just started. That's when I saw that there's a huge opportunity for use of internet based services over mobile phones. So I joined a company called Aricent, who developed products in telecom space. So I started with what is called as a value-added services in those days. So how you bring value-added services to consumers over mobile internet, which is kind of very obvious today, but think of 15 years ago, when only thing that was available was SMS and So that was my career transition. So that excited me. You might probably know, you might have seen in many of the TV shows and something, right, where you do voting, send a text to this number to vote for so and so contestant, right, reality show. So that was the start of mobile internet revolution way back in 2006, 7, 8 time frame. So I joined this company and developed some. So I joined in the product management function. So I developed some products for our company. Mm, Luckily, we got that those products were very well recognized globally, I should say. We got a few patents in that particular products as well. So, and then so from product, I again we got back into that. How do we take these products to business, right? Uh, so again, in the same organization, I moved into sales function and have been doing the sales since I should say 2011 time frame, 11, 12. So I used to focus on Australia and Asia Pacific business for my organization because again, that was a little different thought I uh, took over. That many people in IT industry, when they talk about on-site, people talk about US, right? That's the first choice. Everybody comes second, probably UK or Europe. And not many people in those days again used to think Asia Pacific as a business or an area, even from the company perspective, right? It was not a very so it was quite a nascent field, nascent region, I should say, from an IT industry perspective, IT outsourcing perspective. So I came here. I started shuttling back and forth a lot between India and Australia and Southeast Asian regions. 2015 decided to migrate fully to Australia. uh, we came here as part of my company transfer, but incidentally, we liked the place. We decided to settle down. I took permanent residency, citizenship, and then so and so continued here. So in my professional journey, I should say it went through that phase. Then COVID happened. Our organization was at that point in time. Our organization was also undergoing some changes as part of acquisitions and mergers. COVID happened. We had a downtime. Which again, it triggered me to think a little bit differently, and I joined an Australian telecom company, and that's what most of my journey in some 1.5 years I've been with the telecom operator. Incidentally, my previous company was acquired by Capgemini, and my initial team members or senior supervisors decided asked me to join back to lead the telecom practice here in Australia. So I currently lead the telecom practice for Capgemini in Australia, New Zealand region. So that's where we are.
That was quite an impressive journey and overview of what you have done and how things have evolved. You have taken multiple steps, I would say, multiple pivots in life to bag the right
Yeah.
opportunity. So, one thing which we wanted to ask you was like, how has the education at IIT transformed you from when you graduated to now, and even the ISB education which you took? Like, how has that been a crucial part, or
Okay. So I should say mm, most of my what I am here is to a significant extent is because of the education that I got at my colleges. Uh, so firstly, when I did my engineering from IIT BHU, uh, so what I felt that mm, uh, see uh, the the cohort that you have along with your friend, if it, who are graduating along with you, subjects are essentially more or less the same, whichever college, whichever university, wherever you go in the world, right? Newton's law remains Newton law itself. Doesn't matter which college, which university, which subject you study. What matters is the group that you form, the friendship that you build around when you are studying there. So I think uh, rather than the subjects that you study, what really helped me was uh, mm, the ecosystem of people that I built, right? I interacted with. So lots of the people are in different roles across different countries in the world currently. So it keeps you motivated throughout your journey. You see your peers trying out new things. By new things again, I know in today's world, a lot of discussion happens. New means quit job, start something new, right? Start your own venture. Right? That's what people say. Okay, do something new. So in reality, new doesn't necessarily mean that. There is a lot of ample opportunities in your organization wherever you are working. It's up to you to choose what you want to do. Look for opportunities around. So how does that happen? So that's when the kind of education that you have undertaken helps you think a little deeper, right? So that's one. Secondly, when I did my MBA, uh, and that's something I encourage to any people that I talk to. Mm, That's my opinion, and people have different opinions, and that's perfectly fine. Immediately after your graduation, I suggest people to study for work for a couple of years before taking a plunge to do masters or MBA or any such thing.
Maybe, sir, we can start with. I think you can start talking about how that peer group you were talking about, right? Maybe you can make that point again. We'll
Okay,
cut the
sure.
previous part and we'll start.
Okay, perfect. So what I felt actually, and I was talking about how does your peer group influence you, and you influence your peer group as well. And that's something really a good college or a good educational institute help you build that. So you form good friendship. So your friends and your peers are doing different things in life, uh, and you take inspiration from them. At the same time, you inspire them. And I was talking about trying out new things. New things, in many cases, people talk about changing job, either just switch a job or maybe start a new business of your own. Take a take a plunge into a startup or join a startup company. This is good. Nothing against it. It's personal choice. But at the same time, what I want to say that your job wherever you are working, right? Typically, if you are working in a very large organization, there would be ample opportunities. Trust me. You might be working in one part of a team which have maybe 8, 10, 15, 20 people. But if you think of any large organization, right, which has 100,000 plus people, and there are so many people doing so many different things. So look for opportunities which can trigger some thoughts which excites you. For example, I was working in IT industry, software developer. I was working for a health insurance company developing software products for insurance domain. Triggered me to do business. I came here, I moved into that space. Somehow the IT industry was undergoing changes. At the same time, we are seeing a lot of mobile-based internet solutions being developed. Right, that triggered me to think bit differently and look for opportunity within my organization. And luckily, it provided that, right, to find what's really happening in the mobile internet-based ecosystem. So your peer group in the college that you go can help you in that sense. When you talk to your peers, you will see what others are doing. If it interests you, find out opportunities within your organization that can help you, and to find opportunities that interest you within your organization itself or other organizations as well. But everything is not just about starting new. By starting new does not mean starting a new business. There is a lot of ample opportunity you can find within the organizations. It's large organizations. That's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, and sir, with ISB especially today for MBA aspirants, do you think where do you think ISB stands with respect to like the traditionally well-known institutions such as IIMs? And
Mhm.
do you think that this should be an option that everybody should now start considering seriously? Um,
See, in fact, it was an option. Mm, we used to consider it seriously way back when I did, but that was around 20 years ago. Uh,
uh,
People used to compare between different educational institutions, and I'm talking about if you look at premium educational MBA
yeah.
institution in India, you talk about IIMs, XLRIs, you
Hmm.
talk about ISBA, and there are many more. Uh, so I should say what anybody should look at, right? Just identify where you are in your career path. If you are
Hmm.
if let's say you decided to do MBA immediately after your graduation, let's say did BE, BTech, and immediately after that you decide to do MBA, really the better institutions are IIMs would be a better option to go for. if you are looking for, if you want to do an MBA after spending certain years in your profession, probably ISB could be a better option. Now, again, it's a personal choice. There are pros and cons of every good institution.
And
So
sir,
I
why is
don't really say that you
better
should
after?
compare education institution one with others. You should probably look at uh, what you are really getting into. So chances are you'll find that. Look for alumni from any particular institution that you want to study,
Hmm.
or the alumni in that particular industry in which you want to work for.
Yeah,
If you find it,
that's a really good way to choose, sir. Thank you so much.
no,
Yeah, so moving on to the next bit of it. So, we wanted to understand a bit deeper on how the senior business analyst or a senior specialist uh, roles involve, and how is it different from a entry level associate who is doing a job in the same industry or in the same domain.
okay. So probably you are referring to my 1.5 years I worked for Telstra, which is the largest telecom operator here, right? So
Yeah,
as a business analyst. Now that role is bit interesting, and I wouldn't say, and that triggered, if you look at it, right, just before that, if I take a step back, what I was doing before that and why I took up that job. So before that, I was the country head for a recent in Australia. Uh, so I was running the entire business that my company used to do for Australia. So I was, so it was a significantly senior profile role, and we are doing very good business. Yeah. One of the things which really triggered, and in my entire journey, I've been working with telecom-based organizations and telecom-based solutions a lot. So when I took that particular role for with Telstra, that was a, uh, a very specialized role in some sense. So so because of the years of experience that I had, uh, so I could bring in some values with business flavor to some of the decisions that organization was planning to get into. So that organization was planning to develop to launch new uh, cloud-based of products for. So you might have heard Azure or AWS cloud and so forth, right? You may not have heard a lot about the telecom operators having their own cloud offerings in the market. If so, that was one very specific product or suite that the organization wanted to build, launch in, and I took that opportunity more from that perspective that uh, how mm, should say how a long business experience that I had, right, from other fields could be relevant into this context. So that was really the rationale for me taking up that job. So that was different from an entry level or a relatively, let's say, less than 5 years experience kind of a analyst roles. It is significantly different because
correct,
probably when you are starting early in your career, uh, when you take up a role as a business analyst or a system analyst, those roles are aligned more in the lines of uh, there is a solution that has already been conceptualized. Let's say there's some. If I talk about IT industry, right? Let's say your end customer has come up with some solution, and they want to use a business analyst to break down the bigger problem statement to multiple smaller problem statement.
right,
To give you an example, let's say somebody wants to come to you that I want to develop an e-commerce website, right? So, so when you join there, you can probably say that, okay, I can help you put how a shopping cart workflow will work. You can put those little things. That's
right,
one. That typically and how does those things translates to um, uh, to a specific code or design and so on and so forth. Here, the difference was that you are helping the customer even conceptualize that should I go into e-commerce business or not.
correct,
All right. So,
yeah,
and that's a little bit of difference that you could see. Uh, we were when I took up that role. But it was an interesting journey because we are developing something very new, or not very commonly heard of a telecom company developing the cloud offerings for some enterprise customers. That's typical. So yeah, that was
that's
interesting experience. Mhm.
that's quite interesting. Like, what is your view on the telecom industry from the time that you have started working to the time like it has evolved now? So, 5G has been a big thing in all the regions, I believe now, that it has
Absolutely, yeah.
brought a lot of capabilities to everybody. But what is the future in telecom now? Like, what new technologies can we expect and things there?
Okay. No, see, when you look telecom industry, so when I started, the only known technology was 2G, and the only phone service that people used was voice or SMS, nothing beyond that, right? Uh, and So it has gone through multiple changes. So, first thing that we started seeing was the short codes. So you send vote for some contestant on a reality show, and send message to a particular short code number, which is just a 4 or 5 digit number. That's when it started. Then you had internet on your phones. Mm, Again, internet was very expensive over a 3G, not very good high speed or something. So the telecom industry, if you look at it, right, it has gone from 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, and so on and so forth. What has really happened is the driver for this is not the telecom industry itself. It's the people's usage towards it. Uh, so, although the internet started, uh, what do people use with it? Many of you probably use it for social media. Some of you use it for, let's say, doing some ordering a food over Zomato, maybe, or whatever you like. You may be browsing the internet. You might be using it for online games over video games. So, a lot have changed since the way uh, people have been using mobile phones, and that's keep on evolving. Uh, 5G, for instance, particularly for a consumer, there is not much difference. Uh, you probably get a little faster bandwidth on your mobile phone. So, as a consumer, as a real retail user, you don't see the difference. The difference of 5G comes from industrial usage. So, now you will see a lot of businesses use automating their business processes using 5G. And that's exactly the work I am currently doing right now. So, I'll give you one specific example. So there are a lot of mining operations is happening in Australia. So Australia has a very large minefield, uh, and so and mines have large machineries these days. So all that machineries are being automated and are able to work by itself with very little manual labor. That requires immense amount of connectivity. Correct.
Yes,
Uh, so where does all that data is moving from?
correct.
You may have heard of self-drive cars, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Imagine the amount of analytics that particular car has to do in order to decide should I accelerate, should I brake, what should I do? And all that amount of data that it is recording from all its sensors, sending somewhere, bringing it back. So there's a huge amount of data that's being transferred. So 5G essentially enables that. The way I look at this industry evolving is in the similar lines that there will be new business users or new business use cases that will evolve.
right.
Uh, and that's where any industry will more and more use cases you will start seeing in this space in the telco industry. Yeah.
And sir, in Australia, so since you have been working for so long, first of all, like why did you make this decision to move to
Mm.
Australia? And for somebody who is applying now, do you think that Australian job market is great for Indians?
Okay. So I'll answer both the questions. Firstly, why did I move personally?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. So I started more as I told you probably in the beginning that uh, most of the IT industry have been fragmented or rather significantly focused towards towards US or Europe as their end customers. That's where the maximum business is. If you look up any large IT services organization in India, you'll see probably their reports 70-80% of the business or even more comes from that part of it. Uh, this was not a very well tapped market. Maybe I should say there were businesses, all the companies had some business in this part of the region, but they were not very strongly focused. So I see that there is a strong push towards that triggered me to take this move when we are looking for getting into Australian market from our industry company. Uh, I don't think not many people from our organization were even keen to consider Australia as a potential business growth area. Right? Maybe some people were, but not much. Japan was still the focus area, but Japan always had a language barrier. If you Japan is one of the fastest growing economy, not fastest growing, at least one of the most developed economy in the Asia Pacific region. but you will always face potentially face language barriers relocating to Japan. Australia, on the other hand, didn't have this barrier. We can converse in English, so definitely. Uh, so the business factors helped me to move into Australia. Once I relocated, we really liked this place. Liked in the sense uh, the ease of life. Was so you get more family time. You are able to do a better work life balance here. This is what I used to do earlier. So it probably that those were the factors we decided to settle down in the country. So I came here more in a short term kind of a mode, but we liked the place and settled down. So that was a trigger point for me. Uh, the Australian market is evolving. Answering your second question, that should people consider Australia as a region to relocate, especially from India. Definitely, I shouldn't say that you must do it. There are ample opportunities in India as well. But specifically Australia, yes, it do have a lot of opportunities. It is not as fast growing economy as India. It kind of growing at a much slower rate as against as any developed country in the world is. But definitely it presents a lot of opportunities. Australia's so currently Australia promotes skilled migration a lot, and there are significant opportunities. You'll see people migrating from India and Southeast Asian countries, a lot from China as well, to Australia, either for their higher education or for job at different stages in life. So there are a lot of opportunities. Yes, they do exist.
So yeah, that
Kashyap, audio.
yeah. So that was a good insight on how Australian markets are evolving. So in APAC also, I believe Singapore has been a very emerging market where people are now trying to work. So what would you recommend on that as well?
See, every place has its own advantage, disadvantage, right?
Right.
Singapore has the advantage of 4 hours proximity to India, right? You
Correct.
like traveling from Delhi to Bangalore is 2.5 hours. Probably Bangalore to Singapore is 4 hours, right? So if
Yeah.
you are probably a North Indian and working in Bangalore, probably their time zone wise, you wouldn't see much flight difference between working in Singapore versus working a person from Delhi working in Bangalore, probably 2 hours time zone difference. So definitely that advantage do exist in Singapore. Singapore also has the advantage that mm, it is at a hub of the entire Asia Pacific region in terms of business. So there are a lot of businesses who are headquartered there in Singapore. Singapore, on the other hand, have the disadvantage that it's a city in its right. It's a
Yeah.
city and a country at the same time. So, although there are very good infrastructures uh, in terms of roads and everything, in power, safety-wise, it's a great place. Tax-wise, income tax-wise, it's a blessing to work in Singapore. Uh, so definitely, that's a country many people do consider to relocate if you are thinking of that. The only thing you will probably, and again, I don't want to compare country A versus country B. Each one have its own advantages.
Right. Right.
Australia, on the other hand, had the advantage of a huge land mass. So, if you love outdoors, if you love nature, if you love sea beaches, probably Australia. If you love a very highly cosmopolitan kind of a place, probably Singapore is the place. Mm.
Got it.
But job and career avenue wise, if you look at it, I do say yes, Singapore also provides a lot of avenues. Uh, Definitely. Mm.
Sir, and finally, like currently, your role as associate director at Capgemini, what exactly does it involve today? And especially regarding like, what does your day look like as the as a director? Like we younger people generally want to understand how these senior role people manage their day, what exactly is involved, how they take their decisions throughout the day. So that would be very nice.
Okay. So firstly, forget designation as a aside, right? So associate director, director, senior director. Anyway, it's designation. Uh, so think it more in terms of the role that people do. Same designation person might be doing a different role in different organizations, so it varies. So if you role-wise, if you look at it, right, my role is I lead the telecom practice. We call it TMT, Telecom Media and Technology practice. So what we do is, we talked about telecom. The other industry where I focus on is the media. So you may have heard, you may know many news channels. So they are big consumers of technology. So take about any BBC News or any of these large news channels. So I work with some media companies. uh, the other is the tech. By technology, essentially it means that how do I enable technology for these two segments predominantly. So by leading this practice, what it means is that on one end, I support the sales in growing the business. On the other hand, I ensure that whatever we have committed to deliver to other customer, we are able to deliver it. That's second. And the third thing is what next, right? What's a forward-looking view in terms of how we develop this practice, how do we develop this capability within the organization? Right? Any organization can, when if you want to sell something or if you want to grow a business in any particular area, you need to develop capability in that domain. Correct? So developing the capability within the organization that comes through either uh, hiring people from the market, developing our own research, investing in our research and innovation to develop our own innovative solutions, which we take it to the market. So, so focus around that. So my charter involves these three broad things: supporting the sales to win new businesses. Once we have won the business, we ensure that it gets delivered successfully onto the customer satisfaction. And the third is focusing on new innovative solution that we bring to the market, which would interest this particular industry segment in this particular region. That's what I do.
Got it. So, also like as you mentioned that you have been in many of the roles uh, across different companies. So, did you feel any cultural shift in the way people work across companies, across different countries as well? And how did you manage to basically cope up and deal with all these changes?
That's an interesting question, actually. That especially it's very important to understand cultural differences, or in a multicultural world, right?
Right.
If in whichever organization you work for, there are high chances you would probably interact with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, ethnicity, religion, different language. So people do interact. So during my career as well, I have. So in fact, even within India, I started in Pune. I changed from Pune. When you see people, you in the corridor discussions, people will casually discuss in Marathi, right? It's very natural,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
right? I moved to Bangalore. Uh, of course, I'm talking about 20 years ago. It's very different right now. Things would have been changed a lot. Uh, so within our community, within the people whom we work on a day-to-day basis, we probably interact in English or in Hindi in informal conversation.
Correct.
Uh, then there are language things. You'll see people what do you say assimilating together by rather grouping together by their language. So people from one particular region, let's say, uh, people who speak Tamil will probably join together, and especially after office hours discussion, right?
Correct.
So right, people speaking from one particular region will you'll see them hanging together more closely than this. So I think it is changing a lot, uh, and it has changed a lot. We have now people speak each other's language a lot. We speak Hindi, English language, so that extremely crucial. And that's an advice I give to everybody, and that's a learning I developed in myself. That don't just hang out people from your same state, same region, same religion, or same language. You have friends from a wider region because you are going working in a cosmopolitan world. So,
Correct.
so that's very, very important. The other thing is we casually we make fun of each other's accent, each other's wording, the way that we speak, the language, the culture, dress. It's while we may maybe very casually make a remark to other person, it may hurt a lot. right?
Mhm.
So the very important thing is, especially in multicultural, multi-region based working together, have a have respect for others people's beliefs, their cultures, religion, whatever it is, because whatever somebody is saying is because of the background that they had been through.
Correct.
So if you are little aware of each other's mm, cultural values, you will start respecting people for what their skills are rather than where they come from, and that helps a lot.
Agree. Yeah,
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
uh,
Yeah.
like multiple, well, like working in different cultures teaches you a lot of things as well. And as you move on in life, you can take the best of all the cultures and uh, like live your life up to it. Then, yeah. That's quite interesting, I would say. And also, like, how do you find it different? Like, as you have been in a US culture, in an Australian culture, the working habits of people, like, for a matter of fact, I know that Japanese people tend to work a lot because they like working a lot. So, how
Yeah.
has that transition been for you? You mentioned that work-life balance became uh, it became very good when you moved to Australia, but across other across companies also, did you find any differences there, or was it a constant norm there?
Mm, I would say that it is more of a norm with the as a country-wise culture, and that's the cultural aspect. Yeah, Australia is people value outdoor a lot. So
Okay.
if you talk to anybody, so how much time you spend outdoor is the conversation rather than how much time you stay indoor. So uh, and very common, and this is something I'll tell a funny incident. I was in a social gathering and I met someone for the first time, right, in social setup. So he said, hi, hello, I am this, I am that. Then he said, so what do you do? I said, yeah, I work for so and so company. I'm doing this so and so. No, no, no. So what do you really do? I still try to explain what do I do in my job. Then he said, no, that's something which your manager have asked you to do, right? So what do you do means what is your hobby? So
Hmm.
what do you do after your office hours? So and right that so that's a big change when you think about when you meet somebody. You say, so what do you do? People say, okay, I am so and so. My This is my job. This is my designation. This is what I do. But actually, what in most of the cases that is what your probably your organization have asked you to do. What you do so essentially means. So this is some a significant cultural difference that I found in Australia, that people respect their personal time a lot. People spend outdoor a lot. So, and that naturally means people start their day early in the morning and try to wind up their office by 5. You rarely see people in the office after 5 p.m. It's very rare. Uh, at 8 a.m. in the morning, if you are in the office setup, it will be fully jam packed. So people start early, finish the day early, spend rest of their time pursuing their own personal interest. So when you are working in that culture, of course, you also get you follow that, and you start aligning to that. Something what happens is particularly in specifically I can say about myself when I'm working with and that's just something which you taught your second question about working across different companies. Essentially, it varies again between company to company. If you are in a role where your job requires you to interact with people across different time zones, you will definitely be working probably late in the evening or early in your morning hours. So that's part of your job. But if you can still find your time around all these things for yourself.
All right.
Uh,
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much, sir. This was very, very helpful. All the perspectives on Australia, then on working on these senior roles, and even on IIT ISB. Thank you so much for that. Now we will do a small rapid fire session, like 5 questions we have. Very small, one line answers for each question, so nothing too serious. But so let's start. So, what is the best part of your role currently?
best part of the of my role is thinking of what next I have to develop so that I can bring that to the market. So I told the three pillars of my work. So the third part, which I really like a lot.
Got it. The next question we have is like one thing that you would like to change about your job.
One thing that I would want to change.
Yeah.
Uh, wow. Uh, I haven't really thought about it. To be honest with you, I really like my job. I really, really do like it a lot. So I don't think I would. Mm, I would want to change anything, at least in the foreseeable future. Definitely. So again, this is just my personal choice. It's just that I like doing what I'm currently doing.
No, no, sir.
Mm.
That's a great place to be in. So next question is, since AI etc. is becoming so important now, can AI take over the role you do in a few years, or is it not possible?
Uh, See what we do. Some portion. See, AI will help accelerate things a lot. Uh, Definitely. Uh, Now, I can give you a specific example. So, for example, when I'm writing proposals for some customers, correct? Uh, in order to do that, I have to search all the company's information to, let's say, create. Uh, Currently, if I go by the traditional way, I have to search, ask 20 people. Can AI help accelerate that? Definitely, I can do that a lot, right? AI can probably write an executive summary for one of my customer proposals. Can AI write PowerPoint presentations? Yes, AI can develop a PowerPoint presentation, can create fancy graphics. AI can do all that. Can AI make a presentation on my behalf? Probably not, at least not at this stage. Can AI make a good relationship with the other human being with which I'm doing my business with? Probably not. So yes, AI will definitely help accelerate things. AI will not necessarily change your job. AI can take your job only if you are doing something which is mundane, which can be very easily automated. If you are doing something which is around trying new things, AI can't change it so quickly.
The human touch would always be missing there, I would say
Mm.
that. The next question which we have is like, what is the one missed opportunity that you wish you could have a second chance at?
Uh, yeah, that's something which I really do miss. Is one of the trigger points for me to do MBA was uh, when I was working in for insurance domain. I really liked financial sector. Started liking financial sector a lot. So one point in time, I was seriously contemplating to become an investment banker, right? So and that was the reason I did MBA. And you see the Wall Street guys, right? So probably that was something which I wanted to do. Uh, I like maybe it was, and I also did MBA in finance for that reason. But yeah, I missed that opportunity for some reason or the other. But yes, definitely that's something which I miss. If I
Yeah.
have a second chance, I'd probably go there.
Thank you so much, sir. That was it from our side. This
Thank
was
you
an
for
end.
watching the podcast till the end.
If you have any questions or doubts for the guest, please let us know in the comments.
एंड इफ यू थिंक कि कोई क्वेश्चन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है डू लेट अस नो ताकि वी कैन फोकस मोर ऑन द एस्पेक्ट नेक्स्ट टाइम
और आप लोग थैंक यू मत कहिए, इंस्टेड 3 लोगों से शेयर करिए और उन तीनों से कहना कि और 3 लोगों से शेयर करें, दुनिया बदल जाएगी।